Hello friends, welcome to another episode of The Great Voices. Today, Mario del Monaco, the mighty Italian tenor, whose volcanic voice and intense dramatic presence made him one of the great spinto tenors of his era, who came to define how we still judge performers in a number of roles today. Many have tried to emulate him, few have come close. Mario was born in Florence, Italy on July 27, 1915. He grew up in a cultivated musical upper-class household. His mother had a fine voice and his father was a music critic who worked for a number of newspapers throughout his career, including one in New York. After the family moved to Pesaro, Mario began vocal studies with Maestro Arturo Melocchi. It was in Pesaro where he first met Renata Tebaldi, another voice student at the Conservatory. They would sing together many times over the years, and their commercial recordings for London records are legendary. In 1935, he won a prestigious competition at the Teatro Reale in Rome, which effectively launched his career, which began in earnest with his debut as Pinkerton in Madame Butterfly on New Year's Eve 1940 at the Teatro Puccini in Milan. His career was put on hiatus during World War II when he served as a driver and mechanic in the Italian Armed Forces. After the war, he immediately made headlines with a highly praised debut at the Royal Opera House Covent Garden in London, singing Canio and Pagliacci, Cavaradossi in Tosca, and Pinkerton. He was quickly becoming the dominant heroic tenor of his era. Tall, powerfully built, and an intense, vivid actor, his striking presence on stage won him an army of adoring admirers. He made his debut at the Metropolitan Opera in New York on 27th of November 1950. He had been performing in San Francisco earlier in the month and was engaged for just this one performance at the Met. Cecil Smith in Musical America wrote, "He showed that he could send across the pit the resonant free tones that make the work of an Italian tenor exciting and guaranteed a permanently enslaved audience." Now, if the critics were impressed, the audience that night went absolutely wild for the new tenor, and he was promptly offered a contract for the 1951 season, which included Radames and Aida on opening night, with Elena Nicolaidi and George London also making their Met debuts in the performance. Virgil Thompson, the composer and critic, wrote that Mario del Monaco is a slenderish young man with a very large voice. It is a robust but not coarse tenor of great vibrancy and wide range, one of the purest tenor voices lately encountered. His next roles at the Met were two that have become eternally linked with him, the jealous Canio and Pagliacci, and the equally jealous and ultimately self-destructive Otello in Verdi's masterful late-period opera. He had first sung Otello in 1950, and by the time of his role debut at the Met on February the 15th, 1952, he had created an intensely gripping, fully formed characterization. From his first appearance, where he strode majestically onto the stage and unfurled his huge voice with Otello's triumphant esultate, he carried the audience along with him on Otello's self-destructive character arc as he dies struggling for one last kiss with Desdemona. In those days, audiences at the Met and the Teatro alla Scala Milan were treated to two absolutely massive voices, when Mario would join forces with the marvelous American baritone Leonard Warren in the thrilling duet between Otello and the crafty Iago at the end of Act Two. And here they are from the Saturday afternoon broadcast of 1958.
D'amor vedeste in mano di Desdemona un tessuto trapunto a fior e più sottil d'un velo e fazzoletto chi ha le piedi e già prima d'amor quel fazzoletto ieri certo ne son lo vidi man di Cassio col cortigiano, lucidamente che cose l'albe, tutto il mio vano amore solo al cielo, voltami e spalme, e il sospiro e canto di stervite. Sangue, sangue, sangue! Mi piacere al mare giura, per le carte fai cammini, per la morte, per lo scuro mare sterminato. Vivo ed impeto tremendo, presto via che salvami, questa mare io levo stando. Alzate andar, testimone vuol che odio, e mirata in anima, ma che a terra vasto spiro, del creato in te, e Otello sempre ardenti, cuore, braccia ed anima, tante l'opere cruenti, salvi si piacere al mare giura, e ne tarca il poi morir, questa morte per la morte, per lo scuro mare terminato. Vivo ed impeto tremendo, io che spero di questa volta io levo stando. Io che stando, che
While they were never a regular part of his repertoire, Mario also sang a couple of roles in French, Don José and Carmen, another role that called for jealous intensity, and the biblical hero Samson. His mighty call to God at the end of the 1958 broadcast as he hauls the temple down on himself and the Philistines is the stuff of operatic legend. His other Verdi roles included Manrico in Il Trovatore, Don Alvaro in La Forza del Destino, and the title role in Ernani, which he first sang in a new production in 1956 with a powerhouse cast that included Zinka Milanov, Leonard Warren, and Cesare Siepi. Where could you find a cast like that today? On November the 16th, 1954, he starred in another new production, this time in the title role of Andrea Chenier by Giordano. The role of the passionate, revolutionary poet was tailor-made for Mario, who scored a huge personal triumph in the role. Max Shaughnessy, the critic of the Philadelphia Bulletin, led the positive reviews, writing, "His Chenier was one of the opera's central figure, as it should be. The strong-voiced tenor of the brilliant high notes created an atmosphere of such vibrance in his first-act improviso that the house broke into that type of sustained applause which knows no counterfeit." Once again, Zinka Milanov and Leonard Warren were on hand, the three of them becoming an inseparable combination of vocal titans. Here is Mario in Chenier's first act aria from the broadcast later in that 1954 season.
Colpito fin m'avete, o Dio geloso cielo, il più puro palpitar dell'anima, or vedrete, fanciulla, qual poema, alla parola amor, qui causa di scherno. guarda in profondo e ai prati colmi di viole pioveva il sole e folgorava il mondo aveva la terra un'immane tesera e a lei serviva di spegno il firmamento. Dalla terra alla mia fronte veniva una paletta viva, un bacio e poi vinto d'amore pregare perché una chiesa la spoglia l'ombretta nelle nicchie dei santi e della Vergine a tua abboni al sortorentio un tremulo vegliardo invano chiedeva fare a intercambiare perché degli albi fu il dusso un uomo Canio castagnato l'aria per spazia e contro a Dio scagliava e contro gli uomini e la prima ai figli in tanta miseria la patrizia proe e fa l'occhio vostro esprime umanamente qui un guardo di pietà un Dio guardato a voi siccome un angelo e dissi ecco la vendetta per la vita ma poi non la sprecare ma guarda colore ma palca insieme aperto non disprezzata il detto udite non conoscete
Watching Mario sing is a fascinating exercise. He worked on his technique over the years and created something uniquely personal that no singer in their right mind would try to copy. His feet solidly planted, the powerful legs like massive tree trunks. Wide shoulders are thrust back and his head tilted back as well. This all created that impressive column of air that allowed him to hurl an endless stream of mighty tones into the auditorium. He had many successful partnerships with some of the leading sopranos of his era, and particularly his old friend from the Pesaro Academy, Renata Tebaldi. Together they recorded everything from Adriana Lecouvreur, Andrea Chenier, Aida, Tosca, La Fanciulla del West, Manuel Lescaut, and two of my favorites, Verdi's La Forza del Destino and Boito's Mefistofele, which also stars Cesare Siepi in the title role. Sadly, by the time they got around to recording Otello, Leonard Warren had passed away. What a recording that would have been. Now, Maria Callas was another story. While they sang Norma together at the Met, the two had a somewhat frosty relationship. There's a famous photo of Mario and Cesare Siepi, who is singing Orveso, on either side of Maria, kissing her on the cheeks. Cesare looks like that he's enjoying himself, while Mario looks like he's licking turpentine. Perhaps some of the less than positive reviews may have contributed to the overall sour mood of the production. The opening of the 1958 season, where Mario was joined by Renata, was a much happier affair. The Saturday afternoon broadcast of February the 3rd, 1959, where Mario sang Canio and Pagliacci, proved to be his final performance at the Met. What a performance to go out on as well. It's commercially available on CD these days and captures him at his very best. The brass bull of Milan, as he was called at La Scala, for his indomitable power and stamina, was still singing until 1975, heroically overcoming a near-fatal car accident in 1963. He and his wife Rina had 2 children. One of them, Giancarlo, became a famous operatic producer and theater manager who created productions such as the gorgeous Simon Boccanegra for the Met. His niece Donella is the lead singer of a progressive rock band called Ovus Avantra. So why do I feel that Mario del Monaco deserves his place among operatic royalty? Firstly, that voice. Powerful, magnificently produced. If he wasn't always subtle in projection, it was thrilling and never failed to engage an audience. He became instantly identifiable in a number of roles, in particular Otello. Today, people still use his spine-tingling esultate as the benchmark against which all other tenors are judged. He sang the role, all in all, over 200 times during his career, and at his own request, he was buried in one of his Otello costumes. His stage presence was incredible, and while he sang Lohengrin and Sigmund in Italian in concert, he never performed the 2 roles on stage, a missed opportunity for us all. It was remarked that if you put Mario del Monaco in a gorgeous costume, preferably with a cape, and pointed him at the direction of an audience, you would never be short on vocal thrills. Vocal thrills like his Canio in that 1958 final performance.
La gente paga per rider
Irrepressibly virile, thrilling, commanding, and the gold standard for heroic Italian tenors for generations to come. Mario del Monaco, one of the great voices. And now, this is Verdi Guy 65 signing off from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, Canada, wishing you all a wonderful musical day.